Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Her Seat at the Table. I'm your host, Harleen, and today's episode is one that I know will leave you feeling inspired. I am joined by someone very, very special, a woman I had the privilege of working with during our time at LifeWorks, now part of TELUS Health. She's a leader, a creator, and a voice for well-being in the workplace and beyond. She hosts the Thrive podcast, where she sparks powerful conversations about growth, resilience, and leadership. She's also an entrepreneur who has built her own business while continuing to influence the way organizations think about well-being. In today's conversation, we will explore her journey, the lessons she has learned, her perspective on workplace well being, and what it truly means to lead with both compassion as well as courage. So, grab a cup of coffee or tea, settle in, and let's dive into a conversation with Ola. Welcome, Ola, to the podcast. So, for
Mhm.
listeners who might not know yet, could you share a little bit about your journey and how you first found your way to LifeWorks?
All right. So my name is Ola, like you already said. I joined LifeWorks, I think, now TELUS Health in 2021. Um, Being new to Canada and transitioning in between roles. And so after a series of interviews, I got into LifeWorks, and it was a very welcoming environment, being a well-being organization itself. So yeah, that's pretty much my journey. Prior to LifeWorks, I worked in different organizations like junior and e-commerce firm where I worked with a lot of SMEs, like thousands of them, helping them to craft their products and build their online presence and build their brand on the internet space, which was new at the time, 2014. It was a while back. And then from there, I moved to Paris, where I worked with Carlson, where I conducted business related research. I worked with the likes of Orange International, um, doing research that helps the organization improve their value offerings. And yes, now I'm at LifeWorks, part of TELUS Health. So it's been a journey, but yeah, a
That's
great
amazing. That's amazing, Ola. Thank you for sharing. And it seems like you have done quite a lot of things and you keep on sharing that all throughout. So thank you. So looking back, what were some of your turning points that shaped the leader and creator you are today?
Well, I would say two experiences. One was a near-death experience that I had
Oh,
just a few days after I got married. I had a very terrible illness, and I saw the
I'm so
flickering
sorry.
piece that life could be, because there is actually a thin line rather between life and death. And I think the other one was when I actually decided to leave my own country and travel and
Mm.
find life outside the shores of my country. I realized that everything is transient, and that the only things that we really take along with us everywhere we go is the values that we have built and the contributions we make, to our world out there. So I realized that everything we literally own nothing. And the only thing we would leave behind is our legacy, how we impacted lives. And of course, like I said, the things that we hold as their values. Yeah.
Hmm. Ola, what you said there was really, really powerful. Like, especially when you said everything is transient. That's something which really like struck me because I'm also I also came as an international immigrant
Mhm.
or an international student, and then I work my way through my career. So I can see how difficult it can be, leaving your place where you basically lived a lot of your life and you have a lot of your support system. So I can really
Yeah.
relate to that. I mean, I cannot really say exactly how you felt because that's your journey,
Mhm.
but it's just something which I also experienced. And but the near death experience, wow, like that flickering light of hope that you mentioned,
Mhm.
I would say you're really, really proud, Ola, to have dealt with something like that. I wouldn't go into the specific, but I did wanted to say that I'm incredibly proud for you to share something so vulnerable with us.
Sure.
And thank you for trusting, and you're really, really proud. And it seems like you were able to get through that
Mhm.
with more hope as well as more positivity, and it really shaped you to who you are. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Um, You have seen workplace well-being evolve over time. How do you think organizations can truly embed well-being into their culture beyond just policies?
Hmm. That's a good question, but give me a minute.
No
Just
problem.
yeah. Okay, so I believe that well-being is something that should be prioritized because of an employee that is sound both in their mind and in their intellect will be more productive than someone who doesn't feel, you know, too well appreciated or even comfortable in their environment.
Mm,
So I think well-being is a total package, is beyond benefits, and it's something organizations should take beyond the paycheck, beyond, oh, you
mm,
have 401k or you have like retirement benefits and all that.
mm,
It's something that has to move beyond that. So how we actually feel at work, how comfortable do we feel at work, how comfortable do we feel around our colleagues, and how well do we are we able to share like
mm,
our intellectual strength
mhm,
and use it to contribute productively to the organization, right? So every organization should see it as a total package. It's not just is beyond the paycheck. It's
mm,
beyond the benefits. It has to do with creating the right environment for people to be able to thrive,
mhm,
and actually contribute their best, feel
mm,
like they are valued. So it has to do
mm,
with your management styles, your the leadership skills of people that you're working with, and how do you feel at work? Do you feel heard and do
mm,
you feel seen? So
mm.
it's a total package, really.
Feeling heard and feeling seen, that's really powerful. And also saying that beyond the paycheck, and I would even, I think what I heard was building that psychological safety to just be yourself outside just a worker. And I, in my podcast, I have touched about that as well, like being human to its core, being able to explain what are some of the things that you're dealing with, some of the stresses that you're dealing with outside the work, which contribute to your productivity and your overall well-being. So I think you very beautifully touched that. So let's talk a little bit about your business and your Thrive podcast. So you host the Thrive podcast, which I love because it brings so many real conversations to light. What inspired you to start it?
Oh, okay. So I would say it started from a journey to self and to purpose. And
Mhm,
I'm a spiritual person, if I may. And one of the things was I felt like strongly in my spirit to start studying the book of Proverbs. And in the course of studying, I felt why not share the things I started learning with others, because I realized
mhm,
that the struggle out there is real and everybody
mhm,
wants to thrive, to make something tangible out of their life, their journey, and their experience. And
mhm,
from when I started Try Podcast to where I am right now with the podcast, it's been a journey
mhm,
because
mhm,
there's been a transformation, and even a pivot even for me personally to be prompted to start my business on a bigger scale, to affect lives more positively, and to give people to live for things, something to live for beyond the four walls of their
mhm,
work, and to start
mhm,
becoming value givers, right? So it's been a journey, but the focus of it, the center of it all, is getting people to that point where they don't just exist, or they are thriving. They're not just
mhm,
existing, and they're not just a number in the population, but they are people that now find value in the things that they do, and they're also able
mhm,
to impact lives positively while also improving their own way of life. So
mhm,
even on LinkedIn, like I regularly share, this is how you can start thriving. This is how you can start your own business. These are the things that you can do to identify the values that you have, and how you can fine tune it. I'm giving a lot out for free. Even on Tribe
mhm,
Podcast, I'm making it a whole, like a total experience for the people that
mhm,
I work with, the people that I talk to be
mhm,
able to get to that point where they thrive. They're not burnt out. They're not feeling under pressure financially, and they have
mhm,
some sense of like psychological comfort. Because
mhm,
when you start giving, when you start thriving, you start living a better life in
mhm.
anything that you do.
Mm-hmm. That's really, really good because I know how fulfilling it might feel just giving that beautiful journey that you have, and also making people realize their actual abilities and thriving and not just sustaining. And it feels like your core value is value giving, which is beautiful. So thank you for doing that. I think a lot of your viewers might already thank you for that. Um, so, aside from what you mentioned in terms of value giving and in terms of some of the other areas, what kind of impact have you personally seen, maybe even through your viewers or your audience, either through your listeners on or on you as a host in your Thrive podcast?
Oh, okay. So the major shifts I've seen is the shift in mentality and in the way
Mm-hmm.
people think. Currently running a 7 days training free for people that want to like go into entrepreneurship, helping them to see beyond the box that we all get put into of you have to work in the place before you can
Mm-hmm.
give value, right? To
Mm-hmm.
what do I have? What's in my hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen the feedbacks, like I have screenshots. I was so thrilled because people said, "Oh, my eyes are opened. I can see how much value I have that I can give," right? Some
Mm-hmm.
are saying, "Oh, I've had that psychological shift from
Mm-hmm.
thinking this is how much I'm worth to I am worth so much more," right? And for me personally, I see the joy in lighting up people's candles because I see the illumination, I see the sigh of relief. Ah, I'm what more than,
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought I'm what more. And helping people actually achieve that shift from
Mm-hmm.
just putting themselves in the box and thinking that you need superpowers to be able to do things, to seeing that you can actually start from where you are and
Mm-hmm.
grow. You understand, like in the process.
Mm-hmm.
That aha, that feeling I see come out of other people is the fulfillment I get. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing I've learned is that when you give, you get refreshed yourself because
Yeah.
now you are overflowing into other people, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have space to actually accommodate more, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
that's the fulfillment I get because I'm not just doing business for profit,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing it for impact.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing, Ola. And actually, when you spoke something about putting inside a box and kind of going beyond that box,
Mhm.
the reason I smiled is because a lot of people don't know this because I haven't really marketed it yet. I actually wrote a book called Beyond the Boxes.
Oh,
And it's actually a fictional book, which I released a couple weeks ago. Haven't really marketed that yet, but it's a fictional story of a girl who's kind of trying to go beyond the boxes which the
mhm,
society has given. And it's an interesting read, but it just made me smile because it gives me joy that other
mhm,
people are also kind of thinking of
mhm,
all these boxes, which, whether that's our career, whether that's
mhm,
employers, whether that's family, whoever our society has basically made around us. Because like one of the story which or a little bit if I may share is like when we were kids, right? We were not given pages to draw, right? Like we just drew wherever, whether that was
yeah.
floor, whether that's wall. Of
Mhm.
course, if our parents were not, strict enough to not let us do that on the walls. But I don't know, like that child didn't know the concept of boxes. That child was
Mhm.
able to do whatever the
Yeah.
child wanted because the society or people didn't tell them that this is your limit, this is only what you can
Mhm.
achieve. And I think that's exactly what you were talking. And once you realize that there's so much potential in you, that you can actually channel that beyond that box,
Oh,
that's just beautiful. So I instantaneously wanted to share when you mentioned that because
yeah.
I have felt that and I have helped a lot of people myself as well realize that, and it gives so much joy. So I totally understand that. So thank you. And I also wanted to tell you that running your own business alongside everything else is no small feat. So can you share what motivates you to start and how you balance entrepreneurship and all those trainings that you run with everything else in your life?
Okay. So I would say that what has helped me is the fact that I can't do a lot of things on my own. I have to leverage on others, one, but most
Delegate.
importantly, I have to leverage on God. So when my journey, I have given myself a lot of excuses. Oh, I can't do that because I can't do X because I can't do, I don't want to start now because, but I got to a point where it literally took God to tell me, if you continue this way, you would always have excuses. And then
Mm,
my eyes began to open to see people that are doing so many things together. I came across, I mentioned his name the other time, Jeremy Bennett. He runs a podcast and he shared a very emotional story of how his wife was bedridden for a while and he
mm,
still continued producing podcast after podcast, recording, making doing makeshift studio just to make
mm,
sure that the show goes on. Is
mm,
sacrificing as well as showing up in the family front, right? So there's
mm,
never going to be like a perfect time. You have
mm,
to make it all work together. And then you
mm,
have to realize that a lot of lives depend on you. So if
mm,
I don't start now, I'm probably stalling the progress of the next person, right?
mm,
So I have as I have as a responsibility to live to my fullest, to help other people to achieve that even their potentials, right?
mm,
So that motivates me to always want to. So times I go to bed late in the night, times I have to wake up very early in the morning. I
mm,
have three kids. I have,
mm,
family. I have work, and then now I'm having business, right? So I have
mm,
to, but those things needs to go on because
mm,
guess what? Life goes on.
mm,
If you take if you take me out of the picture, you take somebody else out of the picture, life will still go on, right?
mm,
But you have to get to that point where you realize you need to find a balance, first of all, and then you need to understand that there is potential, there is strength within you as a person that you need to harness that is
mm,
beyond what you even understand that you can do. Like
mm,
you said, when we were kids, we didn't know boxes existed.
mm,
Growing up, university, taking up responsibilities, a 9 to 5, and all that, we start
mm,
fixing and putting ourselves in a box when we can do much more. Another thing
mhm,
I do is I try to schedule, right?
mm,
So, for example, when I started posting and showing up on LinkedIn, for example, I used to feel, oh, I had to post at so time. But I
mm,
started researching how do other people achieve this consistency,
mm,
and then I realized there are tools I can actually leverage to
mm,
schedule my tasks. So that
mm,
way I free up time. So, for example, my weekend is super busy because that's when I gather, I do my research, and I schedule things to flow naturally. Then I put a structure to my time to say, okay, so between X and Y time, this is what I will do. And between X and
mm,
Y, when you reached out to me, I told you, oh, this time works for me because I need to also create time for family. So it's just
mm,
creating a plan that works for me, or
mhm,
realizing that there is an urgency to life and to the
mhm,
impact that you need to make as a person, that I need to make as a person, and that those things has to be done, right?
mhm,
And then the other thing is that people that do it don't have superpowers, right? We idolize a lot of people, we look up to them, but they understand the value, the law of value, the
mhm,
law of the law of life itself is give, expand, give, expand, right?
mm,
And then plan.
mm.
Planning is very important. You can't do without it. So that's just it in a nutshell.
Ola, I know you keep saying that people don't have superpowers, but I would say you do have that because hearing all of that is just amazing. So thank you for sharing
Thank
all your
you.
tips and tricks to the audience. I hope that they can leverage some of the planning and scheduling and apps that you mentioned. What's been the most rewarding part of building something of your own, and what's been the most surprising challenge?
Well, the most rewarding part is seeing others get liberated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when most people that do business would know that in the beginning it can be very tough. So
Mm-hmm.
you meet roadblocks that you didn't even imagine existed. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, when I started, like I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, when I started Thrive Podcast, it was just audio. Then I realized times are changing.
Mm-hmm.
The world. wants to engage. People have heard a lot of things and they now want personality, right? So I realized that you have to show up, and
Mm,
you the age of mediocre is past. We are in a
mm,
different age where you have to do things intentionally and you have to
mm,
give the best as much as you can. But
mm,
another thing I also realized is the challenge that I faced the greatest was starting. You just have to
mm,
start. So,
mm,
for example, I the first time I ever dabbled into building an online presence was 2018,
mm.
right?
Amazing.
Yeah, as early as 2018, I was doing live on Insta. And I realized that at that time, like I allowed things to get in my way and I stopped. But I
Mm,
realized that starting is one thing, being consistent is another thing.
mm,
You have
mm,
to build personal strength to the point where you can be consistent. And then you have
mm.
to know what your purpose is because that drives you. Because there will
What's
be
your
times,
value?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
your purpose, your values, it will
Mm-hmm.
drive you because challenges will come,
Mm-hmm.
situations will come, but only
Mm-hmm.
those that are consistent and consistently giving value would grow. And those are the
Mm,
people that will scale, and those are the people that will make more impact. So when I see lives impacted, when I hear feedback, people come to me and say, "Oh, by the way, that was really mind blowing," or "That was eye opening," or "How can I solve this problem?" And I am able to give value. It keeps me
mm-hmm.
satisfied. But the other thing
Mm,
that keeps driving me is the fact that I have a lot of lives to affect. Like I said, I want to see more people get out of that box and start
mm,
doing something more productive and start
mm,
giving more value. So
mm.
the more I see lives transformed, the happier I am.
Wow. Thank you, Ola, for sharing that. And what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced as a woman in this space, and how have you built resilience through them?
Oh, okay. uh, there's this popular saying that it's a men's world. So, for example, in tech, most of the time it's men dominated. Like I'm having a
Mhm.
meeting with 10 people, and sometimes I'm the only woman in the room. Sometimes I'm the only woman in the room. Sometimes it's just two of us, right? And
Mhm.
I realized that, and then culturally, a lot of times we've
Mhm.
been brought up to be seen and not heard.
Mhm.
But breaking out of that and building personal confidence, I keep telling myself, I can do this, right? And I keep setting
Mhm.
challenges for myself. So, for example, I'm pivoting into AI and learning
Mhm.
how AI can actually help you to like do things better and achieve better output and making AI work with you and not just work for
Mhm.
you. So,
Mhm.
pivoting, I already see like a lot of people already there, like a lot of men are already doing this thing, and it feels like it's a men's world. Sometimes, even when I do like interviews or like talk to people or even put out a business proposal, they'll be like, "You're a woman."
Mhm.
But I'm like, no, I have a seat here. I belong here, right? Because
Mhm.
I have value to give.
Mhm.
I have a
Mhm.
lot of experience. I have a lot of knowledge to share. And I have a
Mhm.
lot of impact to make, right?
Mhm.
But I realize that with time, when people see the value that I deliver or that women are bringing to the table, it gives us that boldness, that confidence to continue and to press on. Things are changing. um a lot of things have changed. 2025, things have moved so fast, like speed of light. What used to take years now takes maybe months or even days, right?
Mhm.
So that shift also is affecting how women are seen and how women are heard, because guess
Mhm.
what, we are now taking that leadership position and putting ourselves
Mhm.
out there, and we're also showing as women that we have so much more to give than just
Mhm.
like the stereotype that culture, has
Mhm.
put on us as women. So
Mhm.
for me, it's just giving value that
Mhm.
establishes my place in the rooms I've had the privilege of being in,
Mhm.
and that value is what keeps me at those tables,
Mhm.
right? And it's what,
Mhm.
yeah.
And what struck with me is, Ola, is when you mentioned that being the privilege of being in those rooms, right? It's so interesting that we as women have to think that we got the privilege, right?
Mhm.
Versus men, unfortunately, have are more privileged than us in the rooms, in the
Mhm.
workplace. Even like I did engineering, even in my engineering, there was more men than women, and it's just the privilege part stuck with me so
Mhm.
much more. I'm also a person of color,
Mhm.
so being a woman, being a person of color, it's interesting how you have to fight in order to exist in those career settings or in the study settings, right? Like
Mhm.
that is just to me, like if I look back and think why, right? Like there has to be more
Mhm.
women who get the quote unquote privilege,
Mhm.
not so much more the opportunities as well. A lot of women don't even get opportunities because of all the stereotypes that you were mentioning as well. So
Yeah.
that makes me sad at the same time. The reason why I started this podcast as well, her seat at the table, because I
Mhm.
wanted to give the seat to women like us,
Mhm.
not just as a form of a privilege, but as a channel to kind
Mhm.
of express freely what we feel
Yeah.
in workplace or in our life. Um, and I wanted to also ask you, when you think about leadership rooted in compassion and strength, because
Mhm.
you have been really compassionate and you have mentioned about giving values,
Mhm.
what does that look like in action for you, like being a leader full of compassion and strength? And can you share a time that you have lived that out in your career?
Oh, okay. So I think I'll start from the place of compassion and strength. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's our superpower as women
Mm-hmm.
because we go through a lot of things and we are naturally that's like I think it's a natural for women to lead with compassion and to lead with strength because most women you find in leadership, you would see that they come from that place of strength. Because for you to, like you said, now in our generation, when you find yourself in some rooms, it's privilege.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And what keeps you in that room, like I said, is your value. But
Mm-hmm.
beyond the value that you bring is also your strength for resilience to show up
Mm-hmm.
consistently and to, you realize you have to prove your value, you have to prove yourself when you come into those rooms. But in terms of leadership, one thing I've realized is that when you lead with compassion and you lead with empathy, you get
Mm-hmm.
more results, right?
Mm-hmm.
I make my team. So I am somebody that leads teams and work
Mm-hmm.
with like um experts. I work with experts, I work with knowledge, subject matter experts.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've realized is when I lead with empathy, when I make them feel, when I make the people I work with feel like they are valued beyond what they bring to the table, beyond, building features, beyond delivering products.
Mm-hmm.
When I do that, I see more productivity. I see more commitment. So I see people show up with their authentic self to work. I see people
Mm-hmm.
excited to jump on a call with me because they
Mm-hmm.
know that they're going to be earned,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're not just another resource I'm using to achieve a project outcome. They
Mm,
are human beings that I treat as human beings. And beyond that, I see that I'm able to actually keep those relationships beyond when those projects end
yep.
or when I move away from that team to another team. So I've had privilege of working with multiple teams in the same organization. And what happens is that when I leave a team, I don't leave the relationship there, right?
Mm.
I've had situations where I just message somebody and like, it's my birthday. I'm like, yay, happy birthday, right?
Happy birthday,
Happy
right?
birthday. And then we talk and they're like, why did you reach? I'm like, nothing. I'm just saying hi. You know, I've had that coincidence before. Like I just reached out to someone just to say I just felt like saying hi to that person. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's my birthday. And like,
Mm-hmm.
oh wow, really? I'm so glad it's your birthday. I'm just reaching out. I don't have any project for you. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying hi, right? And then I've reached out to leaders and I'm like, hi, how are you doing? How is everything? And they're like, oh, and they're expecting me to ask a question like, oh, I'm like, I don't have any project for you. I'm just keeping in touch because I realized that that compassion, that empathy, that relationship that I'm building is going to transcend beyond the four walls of
Mm-hmm.
wherever we meet to
Mm-hmm.
wherever we meet again, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, I am talking with you now
Mhm.
because we have a sort of a relationship in the past, right?
Yep.
I didn't have that connection with you, we would not be here today, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So that opportunity, the ability to actually lead with compassion, with
Mhm.
strength. I have seen people come to me on some days and like, Ola, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling this way. I don't think I'm like, you know what? Take your time, right? Feel better because I need you to be strong. Because if you
Mhm.
don't feel better and you're forcing yourself to do things, you're probably going to make mistakes. You're probably not going to be able to give your best and all that. Just take time out because you're
Mhm.
also human. So that
Mhm.
human side that I bring to the table helps me to achieve much more. And
Mhm.
the truth is, we are more than what we
Mm.
what we are in the four walls of an organization, right? We
Yep.
are human beings, we have families, we have
Yep.
responsibilities. So why not just treat people that way, right?
Mm.
So that's just it for
Yep.
me.
That's giving me so much joy to hear that, Ola, because I relate to all of that so much, and it's just giving me so much, happiness to hear that from you because I know when I think when you first started at LifeWorks, it was LifeWorks and not TELUS Health then, and I remember that you were one of the mentors, so basically mentees, and I was the mentor to begin with, and I still remember how much kindness we showed to each other and we learned from each other, and that just gives me so much joy to remember those times, and I still cherish that, right? Like, and that's the connection that we have there, and it gives me so much happiness to see how much you have grown and you have built such a great career, and it just gives me so much happiness, and also listening that you lead with empathy because that's one of my core values as well, making people feel and seen and heard, not just in your personal life but professional life as well, because sadly this world thinks if someone is leading with empathy, that's a sign of a weakness, and a lot of women or a lot of men try to build these walls in the workplace, acting all strong and acting all difficult leaders, but at the end of the day productivity shines where
Mhm.
you make um, your employees and your people around you, your teammates, feel heard and seen. And that's, I think, what we did in the past as well. And that's why we are having such an amazing conversation. Um, and what advice would you give to women who are stepping into leadership or starting their own ventures but are feeling hesitant?
Well, I would say that beyond what you want to start, think about the lives that you're going to affect.
Mm-hmm.
Because either we realize it or not, we are
Mm-hmm.
built for impact, right? Every man, every woman out there is built for impact. And the
Mm-hmm.
only way you can actually really, really make impact is when you start, right? Because if for any business that you go into, there's going to be an exchange of value. And that is
Mm-hmm.
what make people pay for your services because they expect you to give value, right? So just know that you have so much value to give and you have so much impact to make, and let that be your fuel, right?
Mm-hmm.
That ability, that knowledge that you're going to give value and you're going to impact somebody else's life
Mm-hmm.
positively. Let that be your fuel to start.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Ola. And I'm very curious to know a little bit of your personal side and inspiration as well. So, when you're not working or you're not recording, what keeps you grounded and inspired?
Well, I would say two things: my faith and my family. So when I'm not working, I'm with family, making moments that are worth remembering. I go out with my children or take a trip, all that. And then, of course, my faith, which is
Mm-hmm.
having a fellowship with other people that, shared similar beliefs with me.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, exchanging ideas, sharing value, in that community. So those two things are like just what I do when I'm not doing any other thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Ola, for sharing that. And it seems like you really love your family and you feel very connected to your faith. So that's great. And I'm sure that your family must adore you. You're such a wonderful human being.
Thank
Um,
you.
are there women in your life or role models you have deeply influenced the way you show up today?
Yes, yes, there are actually two women in my life. Um, One is a very popular person. I don't have any personal relationship with her, but I
Mhm.
admire her grit and I admire her achievements. Her name is Ibukun Awoshika. A lot of people probably have heard about her. She is like she's a very big person in the financial world in Africa and even beyond. And she leads with so much empathy. And
Mm,
aside like a corporate life, she's also a very spiritual person. So apart from being a top leader in finance, and showing up as a strong voice for women out there, she's also someone that I see how grounded she is in her faith and how she's also positively and openly helping others, get out of whatever ditch they are in and helping them get on their feet. The other
mm,
person is someone that um I connect with almost on a weekly basis. Her name is Dr. Ayokunle Olagoke, and if she gets to see this, I'll probably tag her when the video goes live. She
yeah.
is someone I admire so much. She's doing a lot. She's a
Hmm.
doctor of letters. But she's also very grounded spiritually. Actually, she
Hmm.
has a podcast that I listen to on a weekly basis. And then she has
Amazing.
given me the opportunity to volunteer and to
Mm,
serve in capacities that would not have been possible if she had not been someone that was like strong and well grounded spiritually as well. So those two women, they are showing up consistently giving value in the corporate world, and they're also showing up and consistently giving value in their spiritual journeys. So I see them as role models. I see it as if this person is doing so much, you understand, and achieving so much, I can't too, right? If they are
mm,
thriving in business and in their
mhm,
personal lives, I also can. So those two
mm,
women are women like I look up to every time. And I am so glad that I have them as mentors.
mhm. That's amazing, Ola. Thank you for sharing because having a support system, having role models, and having someone you can consistently check in with and share your ideas and thoughts and learn from is always like really, really good, makes us more good human beings. So thank you for sharing that. And
Thank you.
in case if you have links of the podcast, feel free to share. I'll put it in the description as well so that people can
Um,
check out their content.
so,
And Ola, is there any like last thoughts that you wanted to give to the audience?
all right. I just want to say that the best time to start was yesterday. But guess what? The next best time to start is now. So whatever it is that you want to start doing, is it business? Are you trying to pivot? Are you trying to change careers, learn something new? Don't stall. Don't wait for like the perfect timing or the perfect environment before you start. Just start where you are, but don't stay where you are.
Don't stay where you are. I think that's the biggest takeaway I think the audience would have towards the end and even for me. So I think I needed to hear that today. So thank you, Ola.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to today's episode of Her Seat at the Table. I hope you enjoyed this heartfelt conversation with Ola as much as I did. Her insights on leadership, resilience, and building a life and career that aligns with your values are reminders we can all carry forward. If you would like to connect with her further, be sure to check out her Thrive podcast and follow her journey through her business and platform. And as always, if this conversation resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it today. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep leaning into courage, compassion, and power of your own story. I'll see you in the next episode. And thank you so much again, Ola.
Thank you.